does the rice cleaning for the Philippine Community Council of New South Wales. Today, the 3rd of March, the newly elected members of the Board of Trustees of the Philippine Community Council will be taking their oath to be administered by the Consulate Manny Donato K. Guzman, who is currently the head of post, being that the former Consul General was appointed already as ambassador to Egypt. So we welcome you and watch how your leaders here in the Filipino community in New South Wales pledge their service to the Filipinos here in Australia. Thank you, and just stay alone. Watch us.
You were there during elected. I am not getting No.
The oath?
I don't know. I guess this makes me ilan copies.
Hello. Stay there. Stay there. Afterwards, say hi.
Hello. We are here today in the Philippine Consulate General Sydney. How are you?
Okay. Where is it?
So she's really very well set up.
The Kanking Queen. No, you're born in the
Picture na na siya.
Kami meron lang daw.
Ay, nakabit live video yan.
Dahil ano na eh. Sa pang-share pa lang ang kwan.
Nakasimulated pa rin naman ginawa siya.
Ito lang kami.
Kunin mo na. Ano nangyari? Ha? Ano nangyari? Anong plano na tayo sa ano natin? Sa
Ay, ano ba? Video ba? Ay. Live video stream?
oh yeah, say something over there.
Bakit dyan nakafocus?
Yan pa lang, yan.
Yeah, you're live now.
Huwag muna.
Ha?
Test, 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 test.
Live na yun.
Test na.
You cannot stop and go. Kaya I was focusing the...
Ano ito mo iyan?
Live ka muna, Ben. Live ka muna, say something. You're on live now. You're live now. Say a message, sir.
Thanks, Ronald. I am really honored to be here today in this the PCC off-taking ceremony. Glad to be here. Please, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Put it in. Talk. Hi, sir. Thank you. Oh, pang-console na yan natin. Ay, dito pati. You walk away. Walk over there. That's nice, what? That's right. Done.
Andiyan na si Demi.
Nandiyan na? Nag-start na.
Mag-supply ka muna din. Mag-supply ka muna.
Otherwise, wala na namin. Pwede ba na sinisip? Otherwise, ano ba sa iyo?
Hindi ako social eh, kaya distance lang sa
Nice to see you.
Wala na?
Eh, kasi 2 years ago pa tayo, hindi ko lang
Alam mo naman ako.
Everybody will be here.
Oh, can we start now? Whose fault is this?
Sino? Sino? Yes.
Are you trying to take me?
I am trying to take the
Masyadong
whole
masyadong
program.
malakas.
Thank you.
Okay, can we start? Can I request everyone to stand up, please, for the Philippine national anthem? Thank you. And can you please sing along with the with the song? Hang on.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kalas ang silanganan, alab ng puso, sa libig mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyo ka ng magiging, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisilip, sa lagat at bulok, sa simoy at sa langit ng bagang, ay ilagang tula at awit sa pandayaminanaman, ang bisatang patawad mo'y katumpay na naglilibig, ang ituwing akala na kailan ang maging dilig, lupa ng araw, maipasin ka, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na may malaki, ang mamatay na. Can I just inform everyone, this is being live streamed. If there are no objections, Consul, is that okay? Yep, okay. This is being live streamed by Mr. Ronaldo Villaver. Can I call now on the PCC Director, Ms. Emily Rudd, to do the invocation?
Heavenly Father, we are very grateful for the huge responsibility to be of humble service to the PCCNSW, its affiliates and their families, and to the whole community in general. A new beginning has dawned on us after the shock of the 2-year COVID-19 crisis and the eventual easing of restrictions by the government and health professionals, opening to possibilities to lead our country on to recovery. With the Council back in action, by the grace of God, we are hereby assembled here together for an important mission, From Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, we are reminded, and I quote, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven," unquote. Now is our time to remind ourselves of the 6 objectives of our PCCNSW Constitution: to represent a unified voice and promote the Philippine interests, to foster cooperation, friendship, and unity, to act as a resource person, to identify issues and concerns, to promote arts, culture, language, heritage, and legacy, and to do whatever is necessary for the implementation of above objectives. In short, Lord, make us instruments of your peace and bestow in us all kindness, wisdom, bravery, courage, and friendship among ourselves for all. So help us, God. Lastly, another line from the Bible. This is for all in Philippians chapter 2. Good morning, good evening.
Thank you. Please take your seats. Thank you, Madam Emily. She had to come all the way from Central Coast just for tonight's event. That is what we call commitment, in spite of the weather. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's induction of the newly elected PCC board and officers for the year 2022. The board is normally composed of 15 officers, 14 of which are elected. However, due to the pandemic and the stormy weather, we have a reduced number tonight. But with the board's perseverance, the show must go on, as they say. So without wasting any time, I'd like to call on PCC's former president and current public officer to introduce the inductees into the front. Ms. Serna Ladja. Clap naman.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much, the Philippine Consulate, for giving us the opportunity to use your venue. It's a very good venue, and I would like to express our appreciation for that. Thank you. As we all know, the induction of officers is a very important activity because this is like showing our commitment. As mentioned by one of our directors, Ms. Emily Rudd, we have objectives and we have to pursue these objectives. We have to meet, or we must be able to do whatever the objectives are leading us. So this is a very good opportunity for us to express our commitment and support to that objective. At the same time, it's not only the officers who have that objective or commitment. You who are with us today, who are watching this event, have that the same commitment to support this body, this big body, the Philippine Community Council of New South Wales. And we have to thank not only the not only the incoming officers who will lead us throughout the way, that you will be installed or inducted to this new task that is being assigned to you at the moment. So may I please call, first of all, the President, the very active and very handsome engineer, Bartolome. We also have a beautiful lady, smart one, the Vice President External, Miss Demi Robinson. Another equally beautiful lady, the Vice President Internal, Miss Grace Liston. I believe that our secretary is not here today because of the weather. So, because he lives in Wollongong, so it will be very difficult for him to understand that. But to mention, he is Darrell Swadling. He is a very hardworking officer of the PCC, but we understand why he could not come today.
Also handsome.
Very handsome. And we have another handsome, according to the wife. Our treasurer, are very good looking now. I would like to correct what I said. From me as well, a very good looking and a very, who has a very deep pocket. Mr. Jess Arans. And of course, our PRO, the beautiful and very committed Miss SP Pugson. A very good auditor and a very smart, beautiful one too. You cannot. We have Miss Sheila Culiante. And the directors, these are, can I say, handsome, beautiful, all the words. Limi Khan, Maureen Santiago, Kenny Perfect, Mercy Jones, Dave Tan, Miss Presi Santos, I think I have to see her. Yeah, so sorry, Presi. Emily Rad. This Emily Rad. No, so and of course, as I mentioned, we have to be thankful as well, not only to the incoming, but also our outgoing president, the very handsome, and very hardworking outgoing president, Mr. Ulrich Bolseco. So, the public officer, Sir Nalaja, a beautiful lady as well.
Can I now call on Consul Emmanuel Donato K. Guzman to do the induction?
Thank you, Alric. May I ask all the board of directors to raise your right hand and repeat after me from your copy. Panunumpa sa tungkulin. Ako, si Council of New South Wales,
ng Philippine Community Council of New South Wales,
isang konseho na binubuo ng iba't ibang samahang Filipino-Australiano sa New South Wales, Australia, ay malugod na humaharap sa inyong lahat upang ihandog ang aking sarili sa isang dakilang layunin para sa ikabubuti at ikararangal ng aking mga kababayang Pilipino. Ako ay nangangako sa abot ng aking makakaya na maglilingkod ng buong puso at katapatan. Tutuparin ko ang mga naiatang na tungkulin sa akin. Susundin ko at ipapatupad ang mga alintuntuning nakasaad sa saligang batas ng konseho. Pagsusumikapang kong gawin ang aking tungkulin na may takot sa Diyos, pagmamahal sa bayan, at malasakit sa aking kapwa. Patnubayan nawa ako ng ating dakilang may kapal. Congratulations, mabuhay ho.
Okay, can I ask, okay, photo muna raw, photo. Consul, photo muna kayo. And first Consul,
And And Councilor.
Pasensya na kayo. Nakakabugin na ngayon.
Ito kayo, Emily, and
Sumama ka.
Hindi nga sa after si ano ba, si Carol, mamaya after.
Alric Atras.
Ready, look here, babe. Look here, people. One more time.
Looking good.
And then si Carol, please, Carol.
Councilor.
Sa gitna, sa gitna.
Sa gitna,
The next mayor.
Okay. Ready.
Carol jacket.
Smile. One more time. That's it.
Okay, back to your seats, guys. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Napakalalim naman ng inyong kanina, mahirap intindihin para sa aming mga taga-Bisaya sa Mindanao. You know, very hard to comprehend. Anyway, before I call on the newly elected president, can I just acknowledge the presence first of a few members? Obviously, you've had seen Councilor Carol Israel, who will be our speaker. Former President Mr. Ronaldo Villaver.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Returning Officer, Attorney Major Tom Baina. Of course, we had Mr. Naraja, former President Ms. Elsa Colado, because of Agla Square, and a few, of course, members from the community. But did I miss anyone? No. Okay, mahirap mo
Yes, you did, us.
Of course, of course, Consul Mel, of course, we have acknowledged Consul Mel and Consul. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can we please give a big round of applause to our new President of the Philippine Community Council of New South Wales, Engineer Cesar Bartolome.
Alam ko, President of the Philippines. Okay, anyway, thank you. Immediate past President Alric Buseco, you have introduced all this man and Consul Melanie, and thank them for allowing us the use again of this Rizal Hall of the Philippine Consulate General. And of course, thank you, Councilor Carol Israel, who graced our occasion today. We invited 3 councilors, and there was the other 2, I think, cannot make it. The other 2 male councilors cannot weather the storm. Takot sa bagyo. But our lady councilor, biro lang ay sanay lumangoy sa baha. Okay, my fellow members of the board, and community leaders, past presidents of Philippine Community Council of New South Wales, yes, Major Tambayna, my brother in the Knights of Rizal, and the former members of the board, and si Angie, Rowena, Rado, yes, Rado is former Vice President External, are all here. So, let me just read my prepared speech here. The Philippine Community Council of New South Wales held its elections last 20th of February after almost a year long of postponement, because of the lockdowns and other health restrictions brought about by the pandemic. It was an on and off scheduling of the elections, and the length of the campaign became so grueling. I think this is the longest campaign period in the history of PCC, and I am thankful that it was finally over. And the 48-hour period by which people or the other candidates may file a protest is already over, so we are happy about that. I wish to congratulate everyone who played a part in this exercise for making it, especially our returning officer, no? For making these elections clean and peaceful. Wala naman tayo. Each one of the 15-member board of directors represented their respective associations. But now that we were elected, I would say that the 15-man board now represents the 57 affiliated associations under its wings. It is now our duty to preserve the image and to always protect the interests of PCC New South Wales. Before anything else, let me congratulate, by the way, my colleagues in the PCC New South Wales board for 2020 that extended to 2021. For his steadfast leadership that bound us together to deliver our mission. Also to all our affiliated organizations, thank you for sticking it out with us and believing that together we can do better for our community. Having been nominated to this position by the order of the Knights of Rizal, where I led the Anso region for 5 years, I cannot help but share with you the thoughts of our national hero on associations like ours. Si Dr. Rizal po, ando na kanyang larawan sa wall. The following paragraphs were excerpts from his letter to the Asociación La Solidaridad, which is a patriotic society of Filipinos in Barcelona during the late 1880s. And here are Rizal's words. In associations, the spirit of tolerance ought to prevail when it concerns trifles that do not affect the essential part of a thing. Maliliit na bagay daw. In the discussions, the conciliatory tendency ought to dominate before the tendency to oppose. No one should resent defeat. When any opinion is rejected, its author, instead of despairing and withdrawing, should on the contrary wait for another occasion in which justice may be done to him. The individual should give way to the welfare of the society. A great deal of integrity and much goodwill. No member should expect rewards or honors for what he does. He who does his duty in the expectation of rewards is usually disappointed because almost no one believes himself to be sufficiently rewarded. Walang enough, no? And so that there may not be discontent or ill-rewarded members, it is advisable for each one to do his duty just for its own sake and at best expect to be later treated unjustly. Expect to be treated unjustly because in anomalous countries, injustice is the price for those who fulfill their duties. From here, we can deduce that Filipinos in foreign lands during Rizal's time, remember he was 21 duties and responsibilities, we always look back and heed Rizal's advice. So what lies ahead? What outcome can the affiliates and the wider community expect from us for the 1-year period of management mandate they gave us? Whether we like it or not, the Filipino community is looking forward, of course, to the 2 main events that we deliver yearly. We cannot do away with these ones. They are expecting it that we lead the celebration of the Philippine National Day. And that is now scheduled for the 12th of June, 2020. 2022, I'm sorry. And the 2-day Philippine Christmas Festival during the 2nd week of November, held usually at the Tumbalong Park in Darling Harbor. So much so that they are the first orders of the day. In between, however, I will have to deliver what I have committed to the affiliates during the campaign. That of defining the problems we are having amongst us and devise ways to resolve them. I have talked about at the first instance the opening of the lines of communications among the leaders of the different organizations affiliated or not with PCC New South Wales, under a common purpose of unity and uplifting the image of the Filipino community. Whether consciously or not, we tend to paint a bad picture of what we are as a people looking from the outside, as the wider Australian community sees us. I have called for an upgrade and a rejuvenation of the Council after having aged for 31 years. Perhaps it's about time to rebrand, to reawaken the interest of the current affiliates and those who have left and slept. I have also promoted during the campaign the trust to go back to the basics, that of aligning things that we do to the very reasons why we are here. In the process, we hope to encourage our affiliates to collaborate with us on projects that become viable when planned and delivered by a group of affiliates via the Council. What I mean is completing projects together and not competing against each other. Background music. I also mentioned about the existing bill voted out during the elections or during the last annual general meeting. This is one cause of conflict amongst us because of the confusion brought about by the different interpretations of its provisions. I have committed to do something about this, and I will need the support of this board to make this happen. While delivering all this, we shall adopt the inherent virtues of respect and honesty in everything that we do. So let us do it, let us act, let us address these challenges together. Maraming salamat at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you for that motivational speech, Mr. President. Now, can I call on Consul Emmanuel Donato K. Guzman to respond to that speech?
Good speech. Thank you. Again, thank you. Good afternoon to everyone. Councilor, thank you all for coming over to the Philippine Consulate General in Sydney. So nice to see you all. And first and foremost, on behalf of the Philippine Consulate in General in Sydney, congratulations to Mr. Cesar Bertolome and to all the new officers, the Board of Directors of the PCCNSW. Congratulations. Unlike Mr. Cesar, I did not prepare any formal remarks, not to understate the significance of the occasion, but I would actually rather, over and above it, your election as the new board, to celebrate the fact that we are here not just for the board for the oath taking, but that this is actually a gathering of friends, of a gathering, an in-person gathering of the community, the likes of which we haven't seen in 2 years. If I'm not mistaken, Consul Melanie, other than our oath taking, this I think is the first and largest community gathering that we've had here in the consulate since before since the start of the pandemic, and that to me is as meaningful as the event to be commemorated today, because it just we all went through the past the grueling past 2 years, and we all know that all the sacrifices that had to be made in terms of work, seeing the end, hopefully seeing the end of it. And in fact, we are seeing lots of signs that there is already no turning back to where we were over the past 2 years. From on all fronts, there seems to be already a full reopening, full re-engagement done at full speed, at full blast. And this is done on all fronts. From the Australian and NSW official side, Consul Melanie and I and the consulate have received have received constant invitations and communication and contacts from the Australian and NSW officials precisely to meet with the consulate, to meet with us, to work out how Australia and NSW officials may be able to re-engage with the Filipino community and also to express appreciation for the Filipino community for all that it did, for all that it had to go throughout the pandemic. Even during January, when the Omicron was still hitting its peak, the NSW and Australian government officials were all still contacting us, making sure that we will all already be headed towards a full re-engagement and renewing of our ties, of the ties with the Filipino community. On the part of the Philippines, we know also that with improved conditions there, we know that the Philippines has also reopened or has opened up as fully as it has before the pandemic. The big news, of course, is from February 10, visitors from countries such as Australia that had previously been allowed to go to the Philippines visa-free, that policy has been reinstated. So now we have seen a large number of visitors from Australia looking to go to the Philippines, something that they have not been able to do or had to go through a lot to be able to do. So we are very, very happy on both ends. From the Philippine side, they're so happy to be able to welcome our kababayans and our kababayans' friends, relatives, and their own families. March on the 21st, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Australia also has reopened its borders, and with that, we are in the consulate. We are already seeing a lot of scheduled visits to Australia, to NSW, to Sydney, from our friends, our kababayans, our relatives from the Philippines, including many official delegations and other visitors. So in short order, we have already been told that there may be visitors from our education and science departments, from our armed forces, and even as soon as next week, we will be having a visit from a Philippine football team that will be having a prestigious match against Sydney FC. Kaya FC Iloilo, which is the Philippine football champion, will be having that match in this Tuesday. They have already touched base with us, and they are looking to actually, through us, they have actually extended invitation and have specifically asked, is there an opportunity to be able to meet with the Filipino community here in Sydney, in New South Wales? So both to the Visayan associations and Visayan members of the community and the community at large, if you are interested, please, this might be our first prominent opportunity to welcome visitors and large delegations from the Philippines into Sydney. And of course, there's that front of the Filipino community in general here in New South Wales. So that too, it brings us full circle to what is happening tonight, in that we are seeing the reopening and the starting anew of all of the activities of the associations of the Filipino community here, who, even though we're all relatively within close quarters of each other, haven't had that much of an opportunity to interact, to engage, to be with each other. Again, magkakaibigan tayong lahat. We've known each other since we've arrived almost 5 years ago, but we have not seen each other or in this sort of gathering for the past 2 years. So it feels so good to be able to welcome you all in an event like this, because it also signifies, with this election of a new board, that program for the rest of the year and program towards a full reopening and re-engagement and restart of all the activities of the Filipino community. Mr. Cesar mentioned, of course, the two major events of PCC historically. And then we also know of the record of the accomplishments of PCC as a whole, and that exactly is what the consulate will be looking to. We will be looking to work with PCCNSW towards these events, because we know we will be looking to have a restart and make up for lost time for these past 2 years, to at the very least get to the level where we were before the pandemic. And I guess there's no better way to start it with this re-engagement with PCC and NSW. And so Mr. Cesar has laid out the key events, and all this we will make sure to brief, to inform whoever might be the new Consul General of the Philippine Consul General in Sydney. At this stage, we have no official word yet, but in all likelihood, we will have a new head of post in time for those major activities. And regardless of when the new head of post may arrive, one of the first orders of the day definitely will be to brief the new Consul General precisely as to the major activities that the PCCNSW and the rest of the Filipino community has in mind, precisely because this was our core function. This is what we had always wanted to do over the past 2 years. We had missed an opportunity to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Philippine-Australian relations in 2021 because of all the lockdown. So now's the time to be able to start things up again. And again, it's quite significant that it will start with this with today's commemoration of the new board of PCC. So we know there's a lot of work to be done, but at least we know that there's now an opportunity to do that work together closely. So congratulations again to PCCNSW. We look forward to the board's program for this year. And we look forward again to working again and to just being again with all.
Since we've been back here in the consulate, and I'm surprised, di karoon ng pandemic, meron na kang malaking TV. So, that is very welcoming news for the community. That's right. That's right. Now that is really good for the community.
Work from home.
But anyway, so let's move on. Now, our guest speaker for tonight, we were supposed to have two, but the councillor from Campbelltown could not make it. So we have the councillor from Blacktown, Councillor Carol Israel.
Good afternoon, everyone. I didn't know that I'm going to say something today. When I saw the program, I just quickly scribbled something. So first of all, I'd like to, of course, acknowledge the Gadigal people for their custodianship of this land, that they're the traditional owner of this land where we are meeting tonight. I pay respect to elders, past, present, and emerging for their custodianship. Well, of course, we are here for the induction of the officers, which just happened, and I congratulate everyone. Of course, the president, the vice president, and all the officers. What do you call yourself? Board of Directors of PCC 2022. And I just heard that you just had a peaceful. A very peaceful election. I congratulate you for that. Sorry. I know all of you here are all good leaders and are all good advocates of our community, of the Filipino community. The dedication and ability that got you here will surely benefit the whole community of the Filipinos. I trust that you will fulfill the election promises that you made during your campaign. I know you all to get onto business. I can see it on your face. So there's a lot of things to do, I know, because I think 1.5 years that you didn't have the election because of because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown. But you only have 1 year to leave your mark. So this is the opportunity for each and every one of you to make a difference, bring change. So board of directors, as you start to implement your ideas, formulate policies, and work on projects, always think about our young people, our young generation. Get them involved.
We're getting old.
Exactly. Mentor them. Ask for their ideas. Encourage them to, to give their ideas, because once you encourage them to give your ideas, they will get more involved to community matters. Sabi nga ni Rizal, of course, we're Filipinos, so I'm going to speak Tagalog. Sabi nga ni Rizal, ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. We all know that, and we have to pass on our Filipino values, traits, our custom and traditions to the younger generations. They are the ones who will continue our culture, we like it or not. So another thing that, of course, I'm very passionate about is I want you, the directors, the officers, to please consider to work on how we can build our own club. I know every time I talk to people, it's always, when can we get our for our community, a club that will sustain our charities. So I'm just looking at your reaction. Probably you'll say, Konsi, ang hirap naman yan. Ang dami nang nangarap niyan. Pero walang nangyayari, hindi natutuloy. So where are we lacking? So I think, I don't want to use unity kasi masyado nang gasgas ang unity. Unity. I think what we need is really collaboration. We need to be solid as Filipinos. And I think this is how we can, have our own clubs. So, do you think it's doable? Madali ba?
Yes.
That's what I want to hear. Mr. President, can it be on the agenda of PCC?
Yes.
Okay. So, of course, I don't think mahirap. Sabihin nyo na, masyadong mataas ang pangarap ni Konsehal. But if we work together, we can achieve it. We are too many here. How many Filipinos in New South Wales? 120,000. How many Hungarians do we have in New South Wales?
10,000.
But they have 2 clubs.
Become communist.
So, and just recently I passed by, I think it was Riverstone, and they also have the, what do you call this, the Maltese club. They have the Croatian club, Italian club.
So we're missing the Filipino club. And that is my, you might say, oh, mahirap. All good things start with a dream. And that dream becomes an idea, and the idea becomes a vision, and that vision becomes action, then it becomes reality. Again, as I said, kung sama-sama, kayang-kaya kung sama-sama. So again, again, once again, I'd like to congratulate everyone, all the officers. So please work together and not against each other. Mabuhay PCC, mabuhay ang Pilipino. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I must say this though, in fairness to PCC, I just would like to address 2 points raised by Councillor. First was that several attempts have been made in the past by PCC boards to actually invite the youth to get their involvement in the community. Attempts have been made, multiple attempts. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, it just didn't work out. I mean, there could be some personal reasons behind it, but there have been attempts to get them involved in the community. Another thing is also the multicultural center. Again, several attempts have been made in the past to get our own community hall. As a matter of fact, I remember Councillor Israel called us 2 years ago. She called us leaders of the community to a meeting in Black Town Hall in council. But like I said, it is easier said than done. There are just too many personalities in the community. You all know that. So you need to have a strong leadership to do that, and a strong organization like PCC, and that will be a tall challenge for the president and the board 2022. So much for that. I know you're all now eager to get your hands on the empanada and the enchilada. But before we do that, let us first do the closing by the VP External, Ms. Denny Robinson.
Councillor Mandy, Acting Head of Post, Councillor Millie, Councillor Carol Israel, my fellow PCC officers and directors, community leaders, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight, we have sworn our oath to fulfill our roles as the newly elected officers and directors to manage the affairs of the body. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, the journey towards the community is twofold. The journey of serving the community is twofold. One, you volunteer your own time and sometimes your money, resources. And second, is you get satisfaction in doing so. I am of the opinion that the community leaders, we have the same vision, we have the same purpose. Why we choose to serve the community, united in our goals. But sometimes we differ in some issues or in some matters, but that's okay. It's a democratic country. We can agree to disagree, right? But we can agree to, where am I? Important, however, is to have an informed decision when dealing with issues, especially affecting not only the affiliates, but the community that we serve. We need to have an open mind, not compromising any whatever affiliations we have, It is the community whom we serve, not ourselves. The 2022 board is a mix of young and old. I believe, and you will agree with me, that there is a good mix of calm, sensible, and open-minded people. And they are 100% committed towards uplifting the reputation of the peak body. Much is expected of us to accomplish projects beneficial to the community. Our one-year term or tenure of office may not be enough, but we have to do our best. Special general meeting to increase the term at least to 2 years of the board. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the new board, I extend our gratitude and appreciation to the Philippine Consulate General, to Consul Guzman and Consul Melanie Diano, and also for the member of your staff for providing assistance in making sure that the Bulwagan, how do you call this? Bulwagan Rizal is prepared for this event. I also thank Councilor Carol for giving us an inspiration for her desire to have a community center for all the Filipinos. Sadly, due to space and constraints on COVID restrictions, we do not have with us tonight the rest of the past PCC presidents and those community leaders who have served and supported this peak body for many, many years. And it would have been really nice to have them join us tonight. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Demi. I think that was the greatest news we heard tonight. Extend our term to 3 years. Right? Or did I hear it wrong? Anyway, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you to the Consulate and thank you for your presence despite the weather. Please, the kitchen is open. Mr. President.
Yes, yun, diba, sa groundbreaking.